So, Brent, obviously you are the number one seed in the PFL lightweight playoffs here in your first season as a participant. You've come in with some accomplishments of your own. I was there the night at Madison Square Garden when you won the Bellator lightweight title from Michael Chandler. So, that was obviously a very special night in your career. Take me back to that night at the Garden. What was it like winning the championship at the world's most famous arena with all its history?
Yeah, it was amazing. That was an amazing card. I remember Fedor Emelianenko was on it, Chael Sonnen. There was a bunch of awesome guys on that card, and it was at Madison Square Garden, which was amazing fighting at. I remember walking out, and it was just so many people, and it was amazing, man. Like I had a crazy hard fight camp. I had no money in the bank going into that fight. I was dead broke. I had everybody telling me I was gonna lose. It was a dream come true, man. I listened to my coaches and we had an awesome game plan, and it worked awesome. It was an amazing night for sure. Never forget it.
Course, of course, and obviously, that's probably your career highlight so far. I think that goes without saying. But I think probably one of the coolest things that you've done in your career, like outside of that, is you have a win by Gogo Plata. That's one of the rarest submissions in modern MMA. We don't really see it, and it's one we see you hunt for in other fights as well. Would you say that sub is kind of a specialty of yours? And also, what makes it so hard to kind of pull off in this particular sport?
Yeah, it's definitely there's only been a couple guys that's pulled it off in like big shows or whatever, but I catch people in that and a couple other variations of chokes like the go-go clinch and a couple other things that are right, kind of look just like it. And I catch people in like three different chokes off of that plata, go-go plata type of deal. So I look for all the time. I catch people in like every single week, and man, don't be surprised if I catch one of these guys in the PFL in the go-go clinch. Man, I've been putting people to sleep with it, so it's an awesome choke. And yeah, man, I love PFL so far. It's amazing. I'm 2 fights away from $1 million, which is crazy, and I feel great. I'm really excited about this next fight with Clay Collard. I'm feeling confident, and I'm ready, man. I cannot wait.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you too, because obviously, again, former Bellator champion, but and you've been with them your whole career, basically. I think you were 2-0 when you started, right, professionally. But
Yeah.
PFL buys Bellator last fall, and you choose the path of going into this season format. You could have kind of stayed as a fixture on the Bellator cars that they're still running. What made you choose one path over the other?
Honestly, I didn't really choose. I just signed a contract with PFL where I could fight for PFL or Bellator whenever they want. But I signed to go in the 224 PFL season, which I'm so happy for. It's awesome. I love how we the fights are back to back and we're staying busy, and I love that, man. It's awesome. I love the whole season, the platform. At first I was like kind of weird about the point system, but it's awesome, man. It makes those guys that don't have points that want to go into have a chance to win $1 million. They go out and bang, and try to win it as fast as they can. And it makes it exciting, and I love it for sure. It's awesome. And obviously I love Bellator. They signed me when I was only 2-0, like you said, and I've had some extremely awesome moments with them and everything. But man, right now I'm enjoying this whole PFL season for sure.
Now, I was surprised because we're talking about the activity that now you have as part of this season. I was surprised to learn that even all the way back to when you turned pro in 2010, you never had more than two fights in a calendar year. You're obviously coming up on your third fight of the year now, and you're aiming for that fourth if you get into the championship as well. Was there a reason we hadn't seen you fight more frequently in a year in the past, or it just kind of happened?
I don't know, man. It was just hard to get fights back to back, and so even when I asked to get them, I just never did, and that's why I really like this whole PFL platform and season because we're fighting, 3, 4 times a year, and I absolutely love it. I love staying busy. I love staying in the gym. I obviously cannot wait to eat some carbs and some dessert, but I'm loving staying busy, man. It's awesome for sure. I love PFL.
I've heard you talk about the kind of the lack of carbs before in some other interviews and stuff. You can tell you certainly miss out on that food when you're in fight mode, right? Is are you a little bit of a
Oh
foodie
man,
or what?
it's horrible, man. Yeah, I wake up in the middle of the night with little nightmares, thinking that I thought that I like had a dream that I ate pizza or something like that.
Oh
And I'm
no.
like, man, I'm not gonna make weight. I diet like crazy, cut a lot of weight. So yeah, man, I can't wait to eat.
What's like the go-to when you're done when the fight is over, obviously, then you can really eat what you want.
Pretty much carbs, but my grandma always makes me a huge like homemade cake that I eat the whole thing and don't let anybody have any of it. And I'm all about ice cream and cake, but Italian food and pizza, pretty much stuff I don't get to eat. I've been dieting for months now, and yeah, after I win this $1 million, I'm gonna get fat for a couple months and then I'll get back on the treadmill and lose it all.
So again, how is that though? Like, you're talking about kind of a little bit longer of depriving yourself of these kind of things, but how is it the fact that you've now had you're basically in your third fight camp in 4 months?
Yeah, I mean, I think his Ray Steffo said this is one of the hardest, tournaments or seasons in sports, and I was like, yeah, yeah, let's see. And he's no joke, man. It's hard. It's hard training through little dings and bumps and bruises and dieting all the time and running. I haven't, in the last like 6 months or whatever, I haven't missed a training session. I haven't missed a sparring session. I haven't missed a mile or I haven't missed sprints. I've been so dedicated and constant training that it's hard and it sucks, but I know what the is going to be at the finish line, and so I'm training my butt off, man, and I'm ready for this. And it's hard though, like you said, man, it's hard dieting for months and months and missing my kids' soccer games and football games and all this stuff for training. It sucks, but I know there's a light at the end of the tunnel for sure.
How old are your kids?
I just adopted a 2-year old, a little girl named Ren, and then I got a 4-year old little girl named Ayla, and then I got a 6-year old little boy named Asen.
Okay, right on, right on. Now, obviously, like we were saying before, your way around submission. Your jujitsu is your pathway into this sport, and you obviously stood out in that regard. You're 2 for 2 now in the PFL with submissions, so you got the points for that as well, and that got you to the top spot at the lightweight. But now you got Clay Collard in front of you. You mentioned before he's had some success in pro boxing in the past too, so it kind of draws fair or not, it draws that striker versus grappler label into the mix a little, even though you guys both have dimension to your game. I know you're proud of your jits, but how do you feel when you kind of get simplified into that striker versus grappler situation?
I mean, it is what it is. I know they've been doing that since they started. Like since MMA and started or whatever. But I'm not just a grappler. I know that um my Muay Thai and my boxing is good, and I know I can stop Clay Collard with my kicks and my punches. I know I can, especially how he keeps his hands kind of low and how he dips and moves. I feel confident that I can knock him out, but at the same time, man, yeah, I take that boxer down, I'm gonna choke him out. I'm gonna submit this guy. I really feel like I can submit Clay 100%, and um, but at the same time, man, I feel like I can knock him out too. So it's gonna be a great fight, and he likes to bring it and come forward, and he's a volume puncher, and it's gonna be a great fight, man. I'm excited, and I really feel like I'm gonna get my hand raised for sure.
Sure, and obviously Collard has been knocking on the door of that PFL title for years now. He's been with the company a while. He's gone to various levels of success, but he's also lost 3 out of his last 4, going back to last year's final, which granted was the final, right? Not sure if you're someone who participates in kind of the film study sessions for opponents, or you leave that to coaches, but is there anything that you've observed in particular that sticks out during this run that maybe like you could take advantage of better than maybe had been present before? Or
I've only watched him fight like a few times, but I really leave all the film footage and game planning to my coaches. They watched a bunch of his fights. They got a good game plan. We've been working on it, and I trust my coaches and I trust my game plan. And I'm ready for sure. I really feel like I'm gonna stop Clay. I know he's tough. He's a super tough guy. He's gritty and stuff. Is a train going by. But
Okay.
yeah, man, I really feel like I'm gonna finish this guy for sure. I know he's tough, and it's gonna be if I go into his fight and I play into fight in his game plan, like how he likes to fight. I know it can be a gritty, dirty fight for me. So I'm gonna stay away from his style and stick to mine, and hopefully make it a easy good night.
And again, you are 2 wins away from $1 million year with PFL. You've really come a long way in life, and you're pretty open about this. Your father was in prison. You were kicked out by your stepfather in your teens, selling pot to survive at that time, getting into street fights, and obviously you've cleaned up your life. You've gotten right because of this sport, because of jujitsu and all these things. And you made some money in this sport, but that's 7 figures that you're looking at here. What's that like to have this possibility in your future? And if you just take care of business with 2 more fights.
Oh, crazy, man. It's gonna be crazy for my family, my kids. My kids see me training and grinding my butt off, and they come to the gym with me sometimes 3 times a day. And just to look back where I came from, man, like it was a crazy time, like crazy, man. I remember when I was like, yeah, 15 years old, I was selling so much weed, and my house was like a 7-Eleven, and man, I had like a home invasion, a bunch of dudes, gangbangers from New York coming to my or from LA coming to my house and put a gun to my head and jack me. And I had the police come raid my house when I was like 17 and did jail and road crew and all this stuff. I had guns in my every single bedroom in my house, and um and I got to a point where I could choose to like do something with my life or keep continuing doing what I was doing, and it's all about what you do with your life and what you want if you believe in yourself. And it's just crazy, like I remember thinking that when I was fighting in Madison Square Garden, Michael Chandler. I remember walking out there and I was like, man, I chose this and I worked for this, and I could have been in jail or some stupid thing, like a lot of my friends were or ended up in and whatever. But it's just crazy what life can bring and what you can make out of it, and it's pretty cool, man. And I'm gonna win this dang $1 million, and it's gonna be amazing for me and my family for sure.
Sure, sure. And obviously that time in your life was a very long time ago, and you're like you said, you're pretty open about this. But other than when people like me ask you about this stuff, I mean, how often do you kind of think back and take stock of how far you've come?
Oh, all the time, man, all the time, every day. I wake up to a beautiful wife and 3 kids and an awesome house, and things that I didn't have when I was growing up. And my kids are spoiled little brats compared to what I was, and it's amazing, literally what you can accomplish if you work hard and believe in yourself. And man, I work my butt off, and I'm not even done yet. But yeah, man, this life is crazy. It's pretty cool.
And you turned 39 this year. I did too. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
made any decisions about your future in this sport, and clearly you're still very successful at it. You might be the champion at the end of the season, but are there any thoughts along the lines of, hey, becoming $1 million champion wouldn't be a bad way to walk off into the sunset?
Yeah, I told my wife I'm gonna win the $1 million this year, and then I'm gonna win it next year, and then we'll think about retirement, But I feel good. I don't have any injuries. My brain feels good. I'm beating up all these young kids in the gym, and I feel great, man. Like if there comes a time where I'm just getting injured over and over, and I'm getting my butt kicked in the gym by all the young kids or whatever, then I'll think about it, and or if I lose, 3 in a row or something like that. But that ain't gonna happen, and I feel good right now, so we're gonna keep trucking, man.
Right on, right on. And the last question I have for you is, what just because you are still fighting, but like we said, we're getting closer to the end. I think that's fair to admit. What does your kind of future look like when fighting stops? We hear about guys like Dustin Poirier talk about kind of the concerns of what can fill those holes that fighting fills right now. And he's got kids too. He's got a family. But do you ever think about that? Like, what's next for you after this endeavor?
Yeah, I've been talking about it. I know I can open up my own gym. I have opportunities in that, people wanting to help me, and you know, uh yeah, put money, invest in me to open up my own gym, which I know I can do. Or I was talking about maybe investing in real estate with my wife and doing things like that, or I don't know, man. It'd be cool to win a couple $1 million and put it in the bank and invest in some cool things and just travel the world with my family. That's what I'd love to do, and just be with my kids as much as I can before they grow up and don't want to be with me or around me. I think that'd be cool. So, but yeah, man, there's a couple things here and there, but we'll see. I'm focused on fighting right now, so that's the main thing.